Welcome back to another video on number. But today we're going to be looking at non-positive powers. So anything that's not a positive number. So here we have 3 to the power of 0. 0 is neither a positive number nor a negative number. If you haven't already, I'd suggest watching one of my previous videos on why anything to the power of 0 is 1. For this video, let's use that understanding. Anything to the power of 0 is 1. So over here, we have 5 to the power of negative 2. Thinking about numbers, whenever we have a negative number, we always end up doing the opposite of what it's like when we have a positive number. Powers are extended multiplication. So if we have a negative number, that's going to mean the opposite. We're going to have extended division instead. So this is the same as writing 1 divided by 5 times 5. And if we were to evaluate that, this would be equal to 1 over 25. So when you see a negative power, that's the same as dividing, because a negative is the opposite to a positive, and the opposite of timesing is dividing. So let's have a look at an example and what is called an index law. An index law is just a general equation which tells us what to do in a certain situation. For this instance, we're looking at dividing. So here we have 5 to the power of 6 divided by 5 to the power of 2. Both our bases are the same, just like in our general formula. We have a as the base and a as the base. We use a because it's just there to represent we can do this with any number. So let's quickly solve this division. So we have 5 to the power of 6. So that means there is 6 5s multiplied together. This is equal to 5 times 5 and we are dividing by 5 times 5. Now when we have a 5 on the top and a 5 on the bottom, we can cancel them out, because 5 divided by 5 is 1. So let's cancel out this 5 and this 5. Let's cancel out this 5 and this 5. Now all we have left is 4 5s on the top. We're going to write this as equal to 5 to the power of 4. Now, you might be able to see a little trick we can use. So we have 6, and then we got rid of 2 of them. So we could write this instead as 5 to the power of 6 minus 2 is equal to 5 to the power of 4. So whenever we are dividing powers which have the same base, we can take away the bottom power from the top power, just like what we did here. And that's what our index law over there says. It says whenever we have any number to the power of something divided by the same number to the power of something, we just take away the second power from the first power, which is what we did here. So this is one of the index laws, and it relates to dividing. Let's have a look at a couple of examples and how negative powers work with numbers. So at the beginning of the video, we talked about 5 to the power of negative 2 is the same as 1 divided by 5 to the power of 2. So here, in our first example, 1 divided by 4 as a negative power would be the same as writing 4 to the power of negative 1. Because this 4 has a hidden power of 1 there. This next example, we have a couple of things. So we have 3 to the power of 6 divided by 3 to the power of 2 times 3 to the power of 1. Now when we're multiplying numbers with the same base, we add the powers. So this would be another way of writing so here we have 3 to the power of 6 divided by 3 to the power of 2 plus 1, which is just 3. Now we can work this out. So this is 3 to the power of 6 Now we're going to use our index law. So when we're dividing numbers with the same base, we're going to take away the bottom power from the top power. We're going to do 6 take away 3. So that means the answer is just 3 to the power 3. Now, if we were to evaluate this number, it would be 3 times 3 times 3, which you can just put into a calculator if you need be, but the answer would end up being 27, because 3 times 3 is 9, times 3 again is 27. So this here is evaluating the answer. This here is leaving it in index form. This next one is pretty easy, because everything is just to the power of 0. So this ends up being 1, because we've got 3 over 6 to the power of 0. So we have none of them. So we end up with just 1 left over, because this is still the same as 1 times none of these. So we end up with 1. Now on the end, we have 2 to the power of 3 divided by 2 to the power of 8. So we're going to use our index laws. They have the same base number. So we're going to have 2 to the power of 3 minus 8. So 3 take away 8 is going to give us a negative number. So we're going to end up with 2 to the power of negative 5. So this would be the answer as a negative indice. So what would this look like as a positive indice? That might be another question you get. So if we were to write this as a positive number, we just need to get rid of this negative sign by turning it back into a fraction. So this would just be 1 over 2 to the power of 5. So to get rid of a negative power, we turn it into a fraction. And to get rid of a positive power and turn it into a negative power, we get rid of the fraction and write the negative in front of the power. So these are some different questions that you might come across as you're answering questions relating to non-positive powers. Good luck with those questions. I'll see you in the next video where we look at some more index laws.